Welcome to the round 4 review. I am your host. Gets weirder every time I do it. Sorry. We're just gonna jump right into it. I did actually have some media notes and I actually can't be bothered bitching about the media. I'm just not gonna bring it up until I get to the games where it's relevant. So we'll start off with Thursday night, which felt like a lifetime ago. It is Brisbane and Collingwood at the Gabba. In the lead up to this, media love to say Collingwood have such a good track record at the Gabba. They've beaten Brisbane twice up there. Yeah, they fucking don't go anywhere for 90% of the year. And then a laid out Nick Dacos. No Pendles. No Dacos. No more. No Collingwood. It's not like Collingwood played bad. They just played like they didn't want to be there. They kicked 10-5. A respectable score until you look at 17-17, 119. In the lead up as well, they're going, oh, it's the Dacos brothers versus the Ashcroft brothers. The Dacoses are better, blah, blah, blah. Well, Ashcroft took that personally. 36-26-10. And then a miracle goal from the boundary, Eddie Betts style. The guy is 21. He should not be playing like that. He is a star. I'm sorry, he's better than Nick Dacos. If Peter sees this, he will go berserk, but he's just better. And Brisbane are starting to get back into their form, which I was really hoping didn't happen. I was really hoping that they fell off after the whole Lockie Neal thing, but you know, I can't complain when you beat Collingwood. Started the week off, kind of went, okay, this is how the week's going to go. And then we go to Friday afternoon, Good Friday. North versus Carlton. And I remembered this time last year where North got shafted by the umpiring. Can't get shafted by the umpiring if you put more guts into the game. They had a sniff the whole time. Carlton could not put them away. The demons were going around the Carlton Football Club. They came out at halftime in front at 3/4 time. And they probably had a little bit of belief going, we can break this curse. And then Clarko gave McKercher a love tap on the chest, which made the news. They got shin-boned. Wardlaw smother, and then Wardlaw tackle. He was gut running in that last quarter. And I watched this game with my nonno for Easter, and he's a Carlton supporter. And do you think I was neutral? No, I was very pro-North. And at 3/4 time, I said, you haven't put them away. North still have a sniff. And he said, I know. And then Harry Sheezel kicks a goal, and I've gone, oh, Sheezel, match winner, Harry Sheezel. And I look over, and he's done this. And then I go, oh, and just to put icing on top of the cake, Jai Simpkin, captain's goal, game is done. And, oh, he was filthy. And he was filthing with the umpiring too. And I'm like, you can't be upset. That's what the rule is. He goes, if it was Melbourne, you'd say the rule was wrong too. And I'm going, I think Voss has until Gabba round. If Voss doesn't win in Adelaide next week, I think he might be done. Which isn't his fault. That club does not want to win games. There's only so much you can do. Like, if he yells at them and they don't show up, he's yelled at them. If he's a little bit more placid and they don't show up, there's only so much he can do. It's not like he's on the ground and he's pointing in direct, like he's at the bench. That should be Cripper's job. Cripps should be trying to keep the boat afloat. He's the captain. And instead, he puts in a piss weak effort. So everyone puts in a piss weak effort. But that's not to take away from the Kangaroos. They wanted that win in the last quarter and they played like they wanted it. And so they got it. Speaking of clubs that play like they want to win, we've got Adelaide and Freo. And Freo, again, in that last quarter, played like they wanted to win. I didn't watch a lot of this game. I watched bits and pieces, and then I watched all of the last quarter. Probably up until the last 5 minutes, I was not invested. They both just looked shit. 11-10 and 11-12. We are not kicking straight. It was just not a fun game to watch. There wasn't really many stakes in it for me. If anything, I probably wanted Adelaide to win so Melbourne could get higher on the ladder. But Alex Pearce, this is what a captain needs to do. He had the game-saving smother. He's leading by example, Alex Pearce. So it got the rest of the team up and about too, which then just made them kick it down to the ground and they won the game in the dying seconds. Like, that is how you win a game. Honourable mentions, Jordan Dawson. He is just a star at the Crom. I just wish everyone else, could play like him. There were just a few minor errors with the Crom. Missing open targets. Freo could not defend. And you had small forwards open, but they'd only target Philthorpe. They had easier options. They had the option to go short and then handball it over, or go short and open up the ground, and they'd only bomb it long to Philthorpe. The guy is not Tony Lockett. We don't have to go to him every time, but they were, and ultimately I reckon it was their demise. They had the easy option, they just never took it. And then we go to the stinker. Two stinkers, back to back. You've got Richmond Port. That game was not great. Port got thrashed by West Coast. And so I was low-key expecting Richmond to come out and have a bit more fight than they did. It was hosted in Melbourne. They didn't have to travel. Port had to come back over after losing last week, and they wanted it more. I know that Richmond are rebuilding, and I know that they won't win every game, but it's a 42-point margin. I was more so expecting a 20 to 30-point margin. Both teams just looked sloppy. Let's just be honest. They both looked sloppy. They were fumbly. Probably the best person on ground was Darcy Ben-Jones. They just didn't look good. It was just a nothing game. Yeah. And then the next nothing game was West Coast Sydney. And with, teams like West Coast and Richmond, you're expecting them to get pelted occasionally throughout the year. This was one of those times. Sydney came over, Papley's milestone game. I don't know if it was 200 or 250. You could not pay me to answer that question because I don't know. Yeah, Grundy just kind of dominated. He was taking his own clearances out of the centre. He was just playing his own game. Heaney took Mark of the Year contender on Reed. Papley just 2-4. Probably could have made his milestone a lot better if he was a lot more accurate. Under the radar, Jai Sarong. Great on the wing. There are a few footy families now with a few siblings in the system that are just bred differently. You've got Ashcrofts, Dacos, Sorongs, Dersmers. It is scary what they do. An underrated star as well, James Jordan. I respected him when he was at the Melbourne Football Club. He was a 1%er, and he's a 1%er at Sydney. All of them had great games. Best on ground, West Coast, I'd probably say Tim Kelly. He actually had a decent game, all things considered. He hasn't been great at West Coast since it was Geelong, I think. Hasn't been in that gun midfielder position for a little bit, but he's a good shooter for the younger kids, and I think he's leading by a good example and will retire in a few years. Willem Dersma, just another great performance by him. I saw on the media a few examples of how he left. I think it was Chad Warner alone in the contest at clearances. He's a kid. He kicked 2-1. If he lets Chad Warner go a couple times and they don't get a goal out of it, it's okay. If he's reading the play a little bit different, like it was going out the back of the pack towards West Coast's end and it just came out the front. Like, it's a 50-50 at that point. If it went the other way, we would have called him a genius. So, a couple more years in the system, a couple more games under his belt, he'll be unstoppable. And then we go to Sunday. Sunday, 3 p.m, specialists, the Melbourne Football Club took on Gold Coast. Fuck, I wish Christian Petrarca was playing. Fuck, I wish he was playing. I know he was in that box just looking, going, fuck, Melbourne look good. I shouldn't have left. I shouldn't have led them on. Tough, man. The club's good without you. We looked good. Gone. Best ruckman in the league. You cannot convince me otherwise. Jack Steele revitalised at the Melbourne Football Club. He looked at St Kilda, as a lot of people who come out of St Kilda do. Unless you're Jack Billings. Jack Billings looked like God at St Kilda until he came to Melbourne and we realised that he was just shit. Sparrow, 180'd. He looks great. Applying pressure, applying tackles. I honestly think getting rid of Track and Oliver has freed us up. The shackles have come off. The boys, they get midfield time. King swaps them around. We never swapped anyone around. It was the fucking Petrarca Oliver show in the midfield. No one did anything. And now we've got flavour. Now we've got versatility. It looks good. We looked good for 3.5 quarters because the first half of the first quarter, we were not very great, and I was getting a little bit angry. I watched it from home because, again, Easter. The umpiring was so bad. I was screaming my fucking head off. I was screaming so loud. Yeah, the umpiring all of Sunday, not just for the Melbourne game, was atrocious. Horrendous. It felt good to beat Gold Coast. I know that they can't travel. I know that. But they have ego up there. And everyone was blowing smoke up their ass saying that they're premiership contenders. Suck shit. Suck shit, you're not ready. And while we're on it, second game player, Lockie Goulburn, should have had a 50-metre penalty against him for running in the protected area while Harvey Langford was going for goal. And I found out from an inside source, aka my TikTok comments, that he also started talking shit to the Melbourne supporters on the wing where that happened. Your second game. Second game, man. You've done the wrong thing and you're going to fight fans for it while you're going to the bench. The ego up on the coast is something spectacular. I don't know what is in the air up there, but it starts with the coach and it trickles down to the team. I reckon they're all a bit egotistical. Besides you, Bailey Humphries, if you want to come back down to Melbourne, go to Maui. You do not have an ego. I would love you at the Melbourne Football Club. Jake Melksham. Here's the thing. The media lit up with Jake Melksham because he took the hanger, again, another Mark of the Year contender, and they're going, he's 34. He shouldn't be doing that. Max Gawn is 34. We don't talk to him like he's 80. You know, we know Jake Melksham's good. We know Max Gawn is good. Why are we treating one like he's in a retirement home and the other one like he's the second coming of Christ? Some honourable mentions from the Melbourne Football Club. We've got Lindsay, Turner, Cully, Howes, Sharp, I think, and Cade Chandler. They played a game and it was a team effort. I feel like under Goodwin it was a track Oliver Gawn effort. Under King they all get a bit of the ball. It just looks good. It looks so good. And it reflected. Melbourne have won every game that they've scored 100 plus points on. So if we just keep scoring, we will win. Then you've got the Western Bulldogs versus Essendon. I knew that game was going to be stinky. And it was stinky. The Bulldogs won the game in the first quarter. Essendon suck. Essendon suck so much. Like, how are you conceding 7 goals in the first quarter and then you concede another 3 and you don't kick another? And then I'm hearing the commentators and they're going, Essendon have won the fourth quarter. 9-11 to 14-15, they haven't won shit. Like, they kicked 4 goals in the last. Guess who also kicked 4 goals in the last? The Dogs! What the fuck? I hate listening to commentators sometimes. Essendon looked shit. They just look bad. Like, just around the ground. Ben Mackay just can't get in a contest. We've got media outlets talking about Zach Merritt's missus, who, she's like, we're 50 points down, I went to a restaurant. I don't blame you. You don't like Essendon. You and your husband want it out. So obviously you're going to be vocal about it. And then the fucking media go crazy. Why is she posting it? You should be, yeah. She doesn't play for the club. She doesn't play for them. It's not like she got up mid-game while playing and went, fuck this, I'm out because we're losing. She doesn't need to watch that because she's going to hear the breakdown from Zach post-match. And then they're going to be in the car on the way home and they're going to go, fuck, I wish I was at Hawthorn. We all know that. It doesn't need to make the news. Let her do what she wants, for fuck's sake. The only interesting part of the Western Bulldogs Essendon game is the fact that the Dogs have 3 injuries. Tim English, I think, has done his ACL. Lobb looked proppy and is out. And Arthur Jones, after kicking 3-1, got subbed out as well. He looked a bit proppy by the end of it too. So that's probably the biggest story out of it. And beside that, the Dogs should have piled on 100. They only won by 34. That should have been a game like West Coast Sydney, but it wasn't. It was a little bit disappointing in my opinion. Like, that should have been a thrashing. And then we go to Easter Monday. The classic, the clash. Hawthorn Geelong. Fuck. What a game. What a game. We've had a few close point games so far this year, and it's great to watch, especially as a neutral. I don't think I could handle it if it was Melbourne, but Hawthorn take the win by a point. Jack Gunston goes off at 3/4 time with hamstring soreness, comes back on. You don't see Scott Pendlebury doing that. Gunners comes on and kicks the winning behind. Kicks the winning point, you know? And the thing is as well, this one, the Cats aimed straight, but Hawthorn were just piling it down. I'm going to call it Melbourne-esque. You just go down, you apply the pressure, you go for goal, you miss. Mabior Chol missing 2 directly in front to put the Hawks in clear lead. We got to get him a kicking instructor. We got to do something to help him out because he's great in the air. He takes these beautiful marks. You just can never convert them. But I honestly think that this game was a great match between two, obviously heavyweight sides, 2 sides that have made multiple finals. And you've got the young ones in Hawthorn. And you've got some young kids coming through the Geelong system now. James Sicily stood up under pressure, took that mark in the 50, and then had the game sense to just kick it and get it going. I can't even say much to fault them besides the fact that they didn't kick straight. If they kicked straight, the game would have been blown out of the water. And at the same time, in the same breath, if they had have blown the game out of the water, it'd be unmemorable. And now we've got this beautiful game where I was basically standing at my desk, like wondering who the fuck would win and if it would be a draw. And I was hoping for a draw for Melbourne's sake. But Hawthorn won and they pushed Melbourne to 7th. But it was a game. That was a beautiful game of football. And you can see how much it meant to Sam Mitchell after the game where they panned to him and he's, head in hands, high-fiving. And, he just looks relieved. And, a lot of the Hawks fans would have. This rivalry is like decades old. So this one had a lot of feeling in it and it had a huge crowd. For Easter, it was Monday. Everyone had Monday off. Unlike Melbourne, it's on literally Easter Sunday where you celebrate the coming of Christ. But, Anyway, that's it for this week. Next week we go to Gather Round. I hate Gather Round, but it's fine. It's fine. Everyone has to go to Adelaide. It's fine. We'll see how I cope next week against Essendon because I have the worst gut feeling about it. A week of football, everyone is level, everyone's played the same amount of matches. We're finally back into some sort of system, and I will see you all after Gather Round. Bye.